Now, one of the most important things is salinity. Now, this salinity is currently 0.026. Now, to run an aquarium, that's a very good salinity. My favorite salinity is 0.024 to 0.025. So 0.026 is very good. But the thing I need to tell you is I never want to add fish at full salinity. If I'm going to add fish, I want to drop the salinity before I put the fish in. Or I want to put a quarantine tank in. Now, this also is telling us the temperature. So 25 is an excellent temperature. Now, if the temperature is going to get too high, then we can lose our coral. And we have two options. One is we can blow a fan over the surface of the aquarium or the sump, and that it alone may do the job. Otherwise, it is possible that we could get a chiller, and then the chiller will keep the aquarium cool if that was a problem. Now, it's actually a very hot day in Sydney today, and considering this temperature is quite good, I have no reason to believe there's any problems here. But let's say that you go away on holidays for 3 weeks and your house is all closed up and your temperature gets too hot, then you do have to be aware that you might come home to some global warming in your fish tank, which isn't really that fun. So just be aware that the tanks don't like being above, say, 28, 29. Right now we're at 25, so we're very happy with that. So 24, 25, that's awesome. Then we don't want to be above 28. Otherwise, we're going to take action. And the action is either going to be turn the aircon on more, turn a fan over the sump or the aquarium, and or consider a chiller. But we can't let the tank run hot too long. Otherwise, we have global warming in our fish tank.
Fish soup.
Which is, yeah, it could end up with fish soup. That's right. Now, let's go back to talking about the salinity again. So once again, a well-run aquarium run at 0.025, 0.026 is excellent. I'm very happy with that. But this is what I need to tell you. The salt level of a fish is approximately half seawater, which means that when they catch the fish and they put them on the boat, they put them straight into much lower salinity. And the reason why they do that is the osmoregulation system of the fish uses a lot of energy. So if they catch this fish and they chuck it on the boat in full salt water, then the fish is going to be in stress. And if the fish is in stress, that means its fight or flight system and its immune system and its respiration system is all going to be running on turbo. Now, if you do that at the same time as full salinity, the fish only has a certain amount of energy within the fish for its molecular energy. So what a lot of collectors do is they catch the fish out of the full salinity and then they put it into low salinity. It could be 0.014, could be 0.016, but typically around 0.016, 0.017. And then that much fresher water does two things. One is it means the osmoregulation system doesn't have to work very hard, and therefore there's a lot more energy suddenly available for the respiration system, immune system, and fight or flight system. So it creates extra energy within the fish, which allows them to have a better immune system. Now, the immune system is always the first one to fail, because if the fish has got any sort of stress, the immune system is the one that cuts out. Because let's say this fish is stressed and it's about to get eaten by a barracuda, all of its energy goes into its white blood cells and its fight or flight system and its respiration system and everything to be alert and be fast. So therefore, it's its immune system that suffers because it doesn't care that it might be sick tomorrow if it's about to get eaten by a barracuda. So that's tomorrow's problem. So what we do typically in the industry, we catch the fish out, we put them into lower salinity. Now, the next thing I need you to know is that if you make the salinity go up, the fish can't handle it because it stuffs up their immune system. If you make the salinity go down, no problem, because that creates a whole lot of energy which was going to the osmoregulation system, which balances the salt within the fish and the environment. So therefore, they catch the fish out of the full salt, they put them into lower salt, then it will usually go to a collection station or something where they might run slightly higher salt, then it might go to my shop where I'll run slightly higher salt. But what we don't want to do is buy a fish, have it go through the stress of the move and then put it in full salinity, or even worse, higher salinity. Because it's very possible that you go to the aquarium shop and you buy a fish, and it's very possible that fish is in much lower salinity than your tank. So if you buy these fish and go and chuck them in your tank, then all of the benefit that the suppliers have seen by reducing the salinity, you just undid. So therefore, the fish that had nice immune systems suddenly have compromised immune systems because you've put them into high salt. The other thing is all the parasites and pathogens within the fish, they love the salty environment. So if you get a fish and put it in a low salt environment, the parasites and pathogens absolutely hate it. So therefore you're going to have less problems with parasites and pathogens if you are putting them into lower salinity. So I want you to consider that salinity you can handle going up 1 or 2 degrees a day with acclimatization maximum. But going down, no worries. You can go down 5 or 6 and they don't seem to be bothered at all. So going down in salinity is fine. Going up in salinity is not fine. So therefore, when you go to buy a fish, I recommend that you have your salinity on the lower side, whether it be 0.020 or 0.022, but definitely not 0.025 or 26, because we don't want the fish jumping up in salinity. Otherwise, you're probably going to end up with white spot, or your fish are just going to collapse and die. So I do not recommend that. So in a perfect world, we might have a tub or a little aquarium. We set that up in the low salinity. Then we test the water. We get the fish feeding. We settle the fish in. We make sure the fish are happy. We give them a month. And I'm just making this up. Let's imagine there's either a little fish tank here or there's a tub here, and all it needs is a heater and a filter on it. And we just need to get the water right, and we need to settle the fish in for 1 month. Because what happens with the fish is in the fish is all these pathogens or things capable of making the fish sick. Now, if you stress the fish, which a move is definitely going to do, then its immune system reduces. Therefore, the pathogens increase. And these pathogens are invisible. And they go out into the environment and they reduplicate, then they come back looking for a new host. And they usually do that between 3 days to even a couple, if not a few weeks. So what happens is a lot of people that don't know this, they buy some fish and they put them in, the fish are fine. Then a couple of weeks later, they chuck more fish in. Now, that's suicide. Because the pathogens swimming around from the last fish are now there when you put the new fish in, and the new fish have got compromised immune systems and they don't have the antigens to fix them, and then they get sick. And then you're like, oh, these new fish are crap. They're sick. But it's not the new fish at all. It's just the fact that you put some fish in and the first ones were okay, and the first ones bring those parasites in, so they've probably got the antigens for those parasites anyway. Then you put a new fish in, which probably isn't going to have those antigens. Then the new fish gets sick from the pathogens from the old fish. Okay, so if we don't want that to happen, what we want to do is put the fish in and we want to wait a full month, 4 weeks minimum. Then the pathogens from the first lot are all gone. Because what will happen is on an invisible scale, the little pathogens will come off the fish, they'll swim around the environment, they'll try to find a new host, and assuming they've not found a new host, they're all just going to die off. And then when you put a new fish in after 1 month, then you're probably not going to have a problem. So rule number 1 is called the 1 month rule. We add some fish, we wait a month. We add some fish, we wait a month. That's minimum. Now, if we have a problem, anything that we think might stress the fish, make it 6 weeks or 8 weeks. 4 weeks is minimum. Let's put the fish in, everything's perfect. Then we can wait 4 weeks, then we can put more fish in. So if we're going to put them straight into the tank, that's okay, but we want to have the salinity down a bit. We don't want full salinity if we're going to put it straight in the tank. Now, on the other hand, if you've got lots of money's worth of corals, you might want a quarantine tank. So
I was going to say there's no way I'm putting a fish in there without a quarantine tank.
a quarantine tank is the best thing you'll ever do.
Yep.
Like even just an Aqua L like 60 or something would just sit nicely here.
Yep.
Or whatever.
Yep.
And then you quarantine them into the quarantine tank. And then after 1 month, and they're in a quarantine tank and they're happy, then you can slowly raise the salt level, and you can make sure the temperature, pH, and salt level in the quarantine tank is the same as the main tank, because you can slowly manipulate the other tank and you don't have to touch the big tank.
Correct.
Then you just catch him out and throw him straight in. You do not need to acclimatize the fish if you've already got the temperature right.
Yep.
So let's say they're both 25 degrees, they're both a salinity of 0.026 or 0.025 or whatever, and the pH is the same. They're the three things we've got to worry about.
Okay.
We get it all right in this. He's feeding, everything's good. We whack it in, and then we wait at least 1 month until we do that again. Now that is a perfect world. To be honest, most people don't have quarantine tanks, but it's much, much better if you do, because you massively reduce the chance of disease if you pre-quarantine your fish. So my first rule is I'd rather you quarantine the fish and you appreciate the 1 month rule, or if you are going to go straight into the aquarium, you do want to drop the salinity of the aquarium, because you never want fish going up in salt. You only want fish going down in salt. You go up very slowly, down, no big problem.